NSDC and FLOW for empowering women through skill development training to enhance their employability and promote entrepreneurship. With a vision to enhance capacities, build competencies, and instill confidence, National President FLOW Jahnavi Phukon launched the 3C initiative for upskilling, reskilling, and skilling, focusing on both life skills and job and entrepreneurship development, oriented skill development programs. The targeted segments are women and youth living in poverty and disadvantaged situations, those trying to re-enter and enter the workforce. The aim is to enable thousands of women become entrepreneurs and employable. Under this initiative, we have Adopt an ITI program, certified life skills, short-term skill development programs with partners like Sleepwell Foundation, HeyDD, WOW, and others. For the MoU signing, we have with us Dr. Manish Kumar and Jahnavi Phukon, among others. FLOW National President Jahnavi Phukon is the 37th National President of FLOW and the first person from Northeast. Jahnavi is an entrepreneur, a co-founder of two National Tourism Award-winning companies, Jungle Travels India and Assam Bengal Navigation Company under JTI Group. Her companies are involved in trade and hospitality, boutique, river cruising, small group specialized tours and textiles, tea and textiles, all of which empower young people's livelihoods, especially women and their communities. Jahnavi's vision is to impact lives and livelihoods of millions of women in India, and her leadership has led to multiple strategic initiatives in line with Sustainable Development Goals, along with FLOW's 17 chapters under the umbrella of One FLOW. Our guest today and our partner, Dr. Manish Kumar, is the Managing Director and CEO of National Skill Development Corporation. He is responsible for providing a strategic vision to NSDC in ensuring that the team moves cohesively towards achievement of Scale India mission. Prior to joining NSDC, he was working as country coordinator and senior institution development economist at the World Bank. He was task team leader for the $1.5 billion US bank's loan to India for Swachh Bharat. He earlier worked for the World Bank in Middle East and North Africa. Manish earlier served as in the Indian Administrative Service, occupying many responsible positions, his last being Secretary to Government of Tripura, Power and Home Departments. He was a Mason Fellow at Harvard University. May I now request Dr. Manish Kumar to give his address.
And good afternoon to everybody. It's a great pleasure to be part of this conversation. And I remember talking to Mrs. Phukon as well as Dharitri a few, I think hardly 10, 12 days back on this important issue on which NSDC has been looking for partnerships, has been looking for groups and like-minded people who can actually help us scale up. I think if you look at, it's not a unknown fact that the female labor force participation in India is relatively much lower compared to many other countries. At 23%, I think it's really, really low. And if we can make it 20 percentage point higher, 23% goes to 43%, it adds $1 trillion US to the economy of India. That's a McKinsey study of 2019. So it's a fairly, I think, powerful group which remains dormant in India's economy at the moment. And the issue is, how do we bring that to the mainstream? How do we ensure that we are able to work together to ensure greater female labor force participation? Now, within India, we find all kind of variation, and we have been talking about it lately. So, for example, some of the states in India actually do very well. If you look at Meghalaya, Northeast, it's actually one of the highest female labor force participation in India. So is Himachal Pradesh. Surprisingly, Andhra Pradesh is pretty high. Chhattisgarh is very good. But then again, we have Bihar, which is at 4%, which is lower than the lowest in the world, which is 5%, that of Yemen. Yemen is the lowest in the world. The highest in the world is, by the way, Rwanda, which is quite surprising. It's nearly 80%. So therefore, the possibility of actually enhancing female labor force participation truly exists in the Indian context. And the question is, do we have the network and do we have that social capital on which we could, or the social network on which we could ride, and we could actually then make it happen. So that's, I think, the challenge for us. In flow, I can sense that sense of purpose as well as the energy which is available to make it happen. When we do our skill development, and when we do skill development, we look for employment or for we look for livelihood opportunity for people who come out of these courses. What we have noticed is that if we look at male and female and they look at their performance from top to the bottom of the entire value chain, beginning from enrollment to assessment to certification, female is actually higher than male, surprisingly. But when it comes to employment, and we were talking about this the other day, that um, the income of female is actually lower than that of male in average. So there are some places where it's higher too, but in average it's lower. So I think there is something going wrong in the labor market, and we are aware of all the biases that exist. And the question is, uh, should we be not working on it? Should we not have groups which, on in a conscious way, actually begins to work strongly on that? There are also certain examples which I've seen. I consider that as very important for India. Of about 410 million labor force that we have, as I said, the women is lower, so it'll be about 9, of 410, maybe about 90 would be about women, or maybe a little lesser than that, perhaps. And what I noticed was that a huge percentage of 410 million that we have in the labor force are actually skilled but not recognized for their skills. So these are cases of people who have been working for many years, but do not have a certification, and which doesn't make them mobile, doesn't really empower them to bargain for their wages. Because if one partner is not giving them enough, then you should be able to go and talk to another employer who might be able to willing to pay you. But then you need a signal, and that is the certification which you provide. So RPL, recognition of prior learning, is a very important tool that we employ. And I can give you an example of Jaipur rugs, where I found that there are women from very backward parts of Rajasthan as well as Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand actually, who make rugs that are of very high quality, and there are different parts of the rugs which different villages are making, and women have been doing that traditionally. And what amazed me in one of the RPL camp that I attended was when I noticed the pride that it brought to women who were involved in that. So few of the things which they shared with me, and that really made me understand the value of RPL. Few of the things they shared with me is, firstly, they said this is the first time in their life that they have actually attended a class, because they said that we are all illiterate. We had never ever thought that we'll be in a classroom situation. This is the first time ever somebody thought that we should be sitting in a classroom. So that itself was a great matter of pride. Secondly, they said that this is the only certificate that I have ever earned in my life. And they were so proud of it. They said that this is the thing which I really want to keep. The third thing that that made them very proud and made them believe in the work that they're doing and gave meaning to their life was essentially saying that there are lots of things that I've produced, but I never knew what really happens to that. What is that whole value chain through which it actually ends up in some hotel in New York? They said that this was like a news to us, because all I did was just produce some small thing and gave it to a middleman who paid me a piddly money, and I thought that was the end of it. I could never understand that this actually gets on adding value and ends up in a hotel in New York, and this is how it is used. So suddenly a meaning comes to their life, and they feel so proud of the work that they do. So the sense of satisfaction that they have, the level of confidence that they have about themselves, and their self-belief, about themselves, I think these really suit up. So I consider recognition of prior learning as a very powerful tool that we need to employ. And I think if Flow could help us do that, given your outreach capacity that you have, across, and there are lots of entrepreneurs you already know, there'll be new entrepreneurs who will come through you. You'll make, across India. So if you are able to reach out to them, create this sense of meaning in the lives of people at the lowest rung of the income profile, then that'll really be very valuable for us. Finally, I think one tool which we consider very powerful in the current time, and which I believe can really add quite a bit to the work that you do and the work that we do, is the digital platforms that we are creating. the fact that digital transformation was occurring in the human civilization anyway. I mean, from 1990s onwards, the life had changed. There's always a pre-internet world and there's a post-internet world. And we now are able to communicate even in COVID times, unlike the pandemic of 1919, because we have that digital capability that enables us to talk and therefore forge partnership, which otherwise we wouldn't have managed to do. So given that, that advantage we have, it's possible we realize that we can actually teach skills by getting into houses where perhaps for social reason women are not willing to step out, but then we can step in through the digital world, through you, and then empower them with knowledge. And the knowledge in the modern world, Industry 2.0 and Industry 4.0, Industry 2.0 being the old world and Industry 4.0 being the new one. Now the knowledge is actually in smaller modules. It is not in that long 1 year kind of courses or 2 year or 4 year kind of courses. Is very, very short, and it's very, very dedicated to what is there, what is happening in the market, what is it which is in demand. So you teach coding, and and these codes, you could actually sit at home and you could perhaps get employed to someone in Europe. You could do cybersecurity as a course, and it'll take you hardly 15 days to complete some of the courses. Some of them might take you 2 months, but then you can get employment of somebody in Europe, and then you can earn money sitting at home. So I think it's very important for us that we are able to economically empower women by making their capability higher, and their understanding of the outreach also enhanced because of our partnership. And then once economically they are empowered, I'm quite sure that social empowerment will follow. But this is something which is close to our heart, and we really look forward to partnership with you to take many of these initiatives forward. And I consider today to be a great day in that sense. We are touching, I think, almost half of India through you, through this initiative. So I really look forward to this partnership, and all the energy that you bring, Janvi and Dharitri. We really look forward to working together with both of you. So thank you so much for thinking about this, and for pushing us to go forward speedily and get this MoU done. So look forward to working with you. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dharitri.
Take it up now. Okay. Thank you very much, Manish Kumar. You have, put it out so clearly to us, and we are so. It's like a dream come true, because this is what we were. I had it on my day one that we need to be able to connect with organizations such as yourself. So when I would like to say that starting out, that when Modi ji had spoken about the 3 S's this time: skill development, speed, and scale. He did say these are the 3 most important requirements for the growth and development of our nation. If India is aiming to be a $5 trillion economy at the cusp of the digital leap, we also need to take the women along, and that tech alone can't push it. We have India's talent pool, and India's workforce landscape has to keep abreast in this rapidly transforming world. So like you have said, skill development is critical for the job creation. And it's vital for a nation like us to set up the workforce that is proficient with these skills and the knowledge. Because only a skilled employee can give that yield, higher yield in productivity and in work. So according to the United Nations Population Fund, that in addition to growing the size of the job market by creating new opportunities, it is crucial for countries like India to ensure that our working age groups are sufficiently equipped to seize these opportunities. But India's formally trained workforce stands at merely 2.3% in comparison to economies like South Korea, which is at 96%. Today in India, millennials contribute to nearly half of the country's working population, 47%. And they will continue to be the largest chunk of the Indian workforce for the next 10 years. Now, out of the youth aged between 15 to 39, we find that 27.2% belong to the neither in education nor in labor force, NENLF category, according to 2017-18. And out of this, not in education, not in labor force, 94% are women. So India needs to structure its programs which enhance opportunities to pursue education and skilling and work. We understand from the statistics given out that the males need training programs which allow them to study and work. That is apprenticeship, internship, evening classes, programs, and skilling programs at clusters. But as much as, and out of that sector we spoke about, it shows that 58.1% of the females in this category were just doing domestic chores. So the challenge is how do you get the young females out to shift from doing domestic chores to formal education and training programs, and later to jobs. So along with these programs, the young women need life skills. And these skilling programs for females are to build their confidence, like you've spoken about, their self-esteem, to develop their soft skills and enhance their personality, besides acquiring vocational skills, their self-esteem, that self-belief that this training can bring them. Mr. Kumar, we at FLOW, we are the oldest women's chamber of commerce in South Asia. Through us 37 years, we've worked towards the goal of inclusive growth. We try to be the collective voice of our 8,000 women entrepreneurs, businesswomen and professionals across the country. And also the voice of those women whose lives we have impacted directly or indirectly over the decades. Now we have worked towards bridging the gap between the skills and jobs. We know the vocational and technical training, life skill, financial literacy programs, these will all help women to go forward. And unless women, like you have said, unless they have money in their hands and are economically independent, they will never be empowered. So this is what we hope. And for us who work in three levels, the grassroots, in the middle sector, and in the corporate world, we see an opportunity in all these sectors. And we see the hope, the desire to do work in all these three sectors. And we know that enhancing women's access to the internet can create an emerging new market of connected women, like you said, either on the grassroots or in the middle level or in corporate, that we can be connected in business opportunities. So coming in as a 37th national president, my mission was to work towards sustainable development, sustainable livelihoods for women's economic empowerment. So under this broad spectrum, like Davitri has spoken, we talked about the FLOW 3 Cs, that we seek to address the need for competency, capacity, and confidence building for women through technical education under our Adopt an ITI program, so under which we have started work with Sleepwell Foundation, where we did online training for 2,000 students in the first few batches under this program. And it was only possible because our past president, Namita Gautam, came forward and whose foundation bore the cost. And because it was also possible because of the bandwidth of FLOW's 17 chapters, which reached out to the ecosystem, ITI ecosystem, and got us those numbers. But we wish to go beyond the ITIs to all institutions, as well as other smaller regions, other smaller entities, polytechnics, anywhere where there's captive audience who we need to reach out to. We feel the need to desperately help. And we know with all our chapters and all the enthusiasm that my members have that we would like to do our bit. I see the job of FLOW to just connect the dots. I mean, there's tremendous amount of work being done with organizations such as yours and so many other organizations over the years, but they're all in silos. So we feel that every drop in the ocean counts, and FLOW is here for that. So that's why this MoU between FLOW and NSDC is so special, and it's such a landmark day for us. You, Dr. Manish Kumar, MD and CEO, NSDC.
National Skill Development.
National Skill Development Corporation. You are leading the way. You have, you empathize, you understand. You are beyond just a government entity or a bureaucrat who does the job and works. So because you work with that passion, you're bringing that passion into this organization. And so you've been able to, you can see the wider picture, the whole holistic cycle that needs to be there, where all of us play a part. You're all us. We see FLOW as a social capital. And that's why with all of us, and we can contribute to the overall growth under NSDC of skilling the people of India by fostering that private sector initiatives and organizations such as ours to be able to work together. And we hope that we are here to learn from you, and we are here to do whatever work we can and reach out through our members in all the 3 sectors. I must mention here quickly that under what we call the Flow 3 Cs, we also have Adopt a Village program, under which too, we are trying to work on transformational life skills in a focused way and bring about change. Talk about environment awareness, talk about health awareness, mental health awareness, physical health awareness. There's so many issues. And that the woman would like to be able to have someone to reach out to, talk to, and play our job as mentors as well. So these are all a very broad, holistic spectrum I'm talking about, and we are trying to hope we make it possible here. And once again, thank NSDC for joining hands with us. And I must take this opportunity to thank my very capable Flow Chapter Chair, Bhuvaneshwar Dharitri Patnaik, who arranged this meeting. I understand both of you were batchmates together in Harvard. So that's why this meeting was easier and quicker for us. So thank you very much, and we look forward to working together. Thank you. Now, may we ask the IT to please play the virtual MoU signing for us. We have a slide for it, Mr. Kumar. Not the greatest, but we are trying. We are trying to cope with the new world.
IT, or shall I do it?
Or whoever has it, yes, please do that if we have that. Dharitri, go ahead.
So that was our MoU signing video. Thank you very much, Manish and Jahnavi. Manish was not my batchmate, he was my senior, and he was the one who kind of motivated me to apply for the Mason Fellows in Harvard. So yes. No, I think, Manish, I would like to mention when you said this was one of the fastest MoU with NSDC I've ever seen, because my organization had one, which didn't take months, but this took a few days. And I think it was your very competent team which really helped and supported us, and it was happening too fast. And just to sum up, like what you were talking about, how do we get more women or female into the workforce, back to the workforce, or re-enter the workforce? Along with skill training, we need a really supportive and enabling environment and an ecosystem for women to work. And I think we should also try focusing more on it. And as women entrepreneurs here, we also have a responsibility and duty to provide such an environment in our companies, in our businesses, for more and more women to work and re-enter the workforce. And like you said, the digital platform, I had a glitch. My electricity went off. So we have this great, so we still face the problems of the great digital divide, along with the social divide you mentioned, that women who cannot step out of their houses to get skill training or join work. So we also have the great digital divide in rural areas and in tribal areas, where still there's no bandwidth and no network. So one of our, what Jahnavi mentioned about village adoption program is also focusing on aspirational districts, where we can work with women who are totally invisible and cut off. And I think you also mentioned about how do we count women in the informal sector, and that's where they don't get counted as women who are in the workforce. And by certifying them through this RPL programs, the recognition of prior learning programs, we would get these women counted. And because if you're not counted, you are invisible. And that's what's happening to our millions of women who work in the informal sector, in agriculture, in construction, and so many other sectors. And I'm sure, like Jahnavi said, we would definitely do our best to take this forward. And before we end, I think Jahnavi has got something for you, a memento, which we would like to present. Jahnavi?
Yes. So, Dr. Kumar, this is a small token of our thanks to you. And we hope to be able to return this, give this to you in the physical form very soon. Would you like to say a few words, Dr. Kumar? You have a little time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thankful to you for coming together today and for taking this initiative. And I really look forward to working together. I know that we are restricted in certain ways because of COVID, but I think many things can continue despite that. And my team will be more than happy to begin working on that with you. I can see Venkatesh is there and Ruchika and others. So they will all be with you as you plan. So let's get rolling and let's try and show some positive outcome in next 2-3 months. So I really look forward to working together. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So thank you so much, Dr. Manish Kumar. This is a delightful day for us. And thank you to your team. We look forward to, starting yesterday. I mean, that's the only way the language we know in Flow, and we want to make it happen. And I want to also take the opportunity to thank my Flow past presidents who have joined us and my entire Flow governing body and their members, and thank Taritri for making this happen. And we look forward and we pledge to work to, as like they say, that as a bird cannot fly with one wing, the country needs a bird to fly with both wings. And so let us take the country, let us do the nation building together. Let us work together side by side and work towards nation building. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks. Before we all end, I would like to thank the NSDC team. Thank you, Manish, but also your very able and competent team, Jyotsna, Preeti, Ruchika, Ram, Sachin, Venkatesh, and others for the help and support. And of course, the Flow Secretariat, Rashmi, Ankurita, Anshu, Natasha, and others. And of course, all our past presidents, GB members, chapter chairs, and other members. And of course, Jahnavi for making sure that this gets done as soon as possible, always pushing us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks. Thanks.
Thank you.
Congrats, Jahnavi.
Congratulations, Jahnavi. All the best.
Big, I think, big landmark in the life of Flow. So all the very best.
Congratulations, Jahnavi.
I think Jahnavi is not there. Congratulations, Daritri and